Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Reading the Red this Tuesday morning. It's really dark out there with a misty rain. Hopefully, it will be a dry day. Matthew 16:6. The disciples have come to Jesus, but they forgot to bring bread. So they're aware of this. And Jesus in verse 6 says to the disciples, "Watch out and be aware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." So watch out, be aware of the leaven of the Sadducees and the Pharisees. So the Pharisees were one sect of Israel's religious structure. The Sadducees were another. Someone once said they were called Sadducees because they didn't believe in life after death, and that made them Sadducee. I don't know about all of that. I do know that Jesus said, "Beware of the leaven," to the disciples. And the disciples are instantly thinking, he's having a pop at us. He's saying to us, "You didn't bring any bread." And Jesus is not talking about bread, but that's their conscious inspiration. That's what they feel, because they feel the responsibility of not bringing bread. And so as soon as Jesus says, "Beware of the leaven," because he related it to yeast or to bread, so they immediately think about that thing. It's kind of like a subtle, subconscious kind of intimidator. Jesus, when he says to them, "Beware of the leaven," the yeast of the scribes, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, he's doing that because he's saying to them, beware of the teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And the teachings are really what he's asking them to be mindful of, because he knows that if we or they take on board teachings that have error in them, that error will influence the reality of what we believe. One of the reasons why instinctively the disciples think, he's having a pop at us, we didn't bring any bread, is because they felt that responsibility because they should have brought bread. And so as soon as he said something, guilt had an opportunity to take hold of them and make them feel bad about what they thought he was talking about regarding not bringing any bread, which of course he wasn't, but that's where they went. Guilt took hold of them. And one of the negative things about taking on board teachings that are not reflective of the things of God is that they will bring inappropriate impact upon who you are. They will make you feel in a particular way. They will make you think in a particular way. And those particular ways are not reflective of how God wants you to think or feel. You think them, and yes, you feel them. But that isn't how God wants you to think or feel. So people often say, "I asked God to forgive me, but I didn't feel like I was forgiven." Well, where does it say you have to feel forgiven? It says God forgives you if you ask him. So if you ask him, he forgives you. That's the teaching. That's the truth that sets captives free. But if you wait around to feel like you're forgiven, you'll never feel like it, because if you're wrapped up in thinking that your feeling aspect of who you are is the determinating factor of how qualified you are now that you're forgiven, then you're going on a journey that God doesn't want you to go on. No, God wants you to beware of the leaven of the scribes or the Pharisees and the Sadducees, because inappropriate teaching will take you and feed you negative things and destroy, as it were, the freedom God wants you to be brought into. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.